Welcome to Revenge Report. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Let's dive in. My name's Kristen Blanchard. I'm 41, and the last time I saw my brother Jason alive, he called me a glorified barcode scanner in front of 300 people at his retirement party. Tonight, I'm sitting in the back row of Crestwood Baptist, watching his coffin being wheeled down the aisle. The air smells like floral arrangements and sadness, and I can still hear the chuckling from that night, like it just happened. Jason was a fire chief, decorated, beloved, practically a local hero. The town adored him, our family worshipped him. Familiar faces from that humiliating night are here too. The same people who laughed while he dragged my name through the mud are now crying into tissues. My phone buzzes, a text from Neil. Harris indictment moved to Friday. Your audit report nailed it. You're amazing. I turn it silent. I'm an internal investigator for the state treasury. For 14 months, I worked quietly, building the case that brought down a massive fraud ring. Jason never knew. To my family, I was just Kristen, the numbers girl who checks spreadsheets. I try not to feel anything about the text, or the people around me, or Jason in that coffin. But the memories creep up anyway. He had this way of cutting deep, even when he didn't know it. And tonight, with him gone, it's like all the things I never said, never could say, are spilling out, even if no one can hear them. The eulogy starts, and I barely hear the words. Something about community service, bravery awards, the man everyone respected. The voice of the pastor floats over me like background noise, while I slip back to that last real conversation with Jason. It was 2 years ago, at Mom's birthday. I can still picture the scene. The table cluttered with cake crumbs, half-empty wine glasses, and the hum of family chatter. Jason, wearing that smug grin of his, leaned back in his chair and started talking about expanding his firehouse charity. He turned to me like he'd been saving this moment. You still punching in numbers for the state. Thought you'd move up by now, he said, his eyes narrow with that mocking look I knew all too well. I remember that moment perfectly, the way I just stared at him. My mind was full of the mess I'd been trying to clean up for the past few months. Shell companies, hidden assets, financial trails that felt like a labyrinth. But I didn't say anything, because explaining never worked with him. Jason had his way of twisting things, and once he'd made up his mind, it didn't matter how much I said or how much I proved. I could have told him that, just a few weeks before, I'd been preparing for a closed-door testimony before the State Finance Board, piecing together the final pieces of a massive fraud case. I could have told him I was digging through emails and bank records that made my stomach twist with each new discovery, that I was getting ready to bring down a whole ring of embezzlers. But I didn't. Instead, I just swallowed down the words. I once tried to explain to him what I did, what my work meant. He looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. Then he told everyone I was just the one who printed out warning labels. And my cousin Tammy, who was always quick to laugh at anything Jason said, added, "Not everyone's cut out for real pressure. Some people need desk jobs." I'd seen that look too many times to argue with it anymore. He was the hero, the fire chief, the one who saved lives, who had the accolades to prove it. I was just the family footnote, the one who wore cardigans and sat in offices with spreadsheets. Jason always needed to be the center of attention, the one who saved the day. And I was the one who got stuck in the margins, always trying to prove that my job meant something too, but never quite managing to convince anyone, especially not him. I snapped back to the present. The pastor's still talking, still listing off Jason's heroic feats, his firehouse donations, all the lives he'd touched. But I can't shake the memory of that moment, of him, so sure of his place in the world, looking down on me from his perch. I can feel my chest tighten, and for a second, I wish I could leave. Just stand up and walk out, escape from this place, from the story that's been built around him, the story they'll keep telling now that he's gone. But I stay, because this is my family, and for better or worse, I'm still a part of it, even if they never really saw me. The night of his retirement party, I came out of courtesy. The whole town was there, local officials, reporters, family. I was seated at the relatives' table, tucked away in the corner of the tent, where I wouldn't have to be in the spotlight. It was supposed to be a celebration for him, but I felt more like an afterthought, a fly on the wall, just there to fill out the family picture. Someone asked what I did for work. I opened my mouth to say something, anything, but before I could get a word out, Jason raised his glass, that grin of his spreading across his face like he had a punchline waiting. "Kristen's our family's own little barcode scanner," he said, loud enough for the whole tent to hear. She makes sure the decimal points line up just right. Laughter rolled through the crowd like waves crashing on a beach. My aunt giggled, her high-pitched laugh cutting through everything like a knife. My uncle just shook his head, but not in sympathy. More like it was true and tragic, and everyone had already known it. I sat there, stunned, like I'd just been slapped across the face. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. I felt the blood rush to my face, hot and suffocating. Jason wasn't just talking about me, he was mocking me, in front of everyone. He kept going, pouring salt on the wound. Hey, someone's got to proofread those warning letters the state sends out, right? More laughter. My cheeks burned with it. I could feel my stomach twist. My hands went cold and clammy, and for a second, I wondered if I might actually vomit in front of everyone. I didn't wait for the cake to be served. I got up, left my chair, and walked straight out of the tent without saying a word to anyone, not even my mom. I didn't care. When I got home, there was a text from Jason waiting on my phone. Just teasing, sis. You know I love you. I didn't reply. Because there was nothing to say. Nothing that would make it better. And it was the last text I ever got from him. We didn't speak after that night, not once. Every time I tried to make it right, every time I tried to explain how much it hurt, I got nothing in return. Not even an apology, just silence. Now here I am, sitting in the back of a church, surrounded by people who are crying like Jason was perfect. Like he never pulled shit like that. Like he was always the hero, always the guy who could do no wrong. And I can't shake this feeling in the pit of my stomach, this hollow ache that just won't go away. All I can think about is how much Jason enjoyed watching me shrink under the weight of his words, how he loved the power he had, the way he could reduce me to nothing with a joke, and everyone else would laugh along. I'm supposed to feel something here. Sadness, grief, maybe even relief that he's gone. But all I can feel is this anger, this bitterness that cuts deeper than I want to admit. I wanted him to see me, to see what I could do, to see that I mattered, and for years, he just ignored me, belittled me, reduced me to nothing more than the quiet girl who made sure the numbers added up. But now, in this church full of people who think he was a saint, I don't feel sorry for him. I don't feel bad for his family. I feel like I'm the one who's been left behind. And no matter how much they cry or say how wonderful he was, I know the truth. And so did he. After the service, Jason's lawyer, a buttoned-up guy named Collins, pulls me aside. He has that smooth, practiced way of speaking that you only get from years of dealing with people's estates. Kristen, he says, glancing over his glasses, I need you to stay behind for the reading of the will. Your brother specifically asked for you to be here. I hadn't been expecting anything. I barely even know why I'm still here, why I'm still playing along with whatever ritual this is. But I nod and follow him into a back room at the church. The air is thick with quiet murmurs, and the room smells like old wood and stale coffee. Leanne's there, her eyes puffy, red from crying. Corey, the assistant I've only met a handful of times, sits next to her, his face impassive. A few cousins I don't really know well are scattered around, looking like they're waiting for something to happen. Something meaningful, I guess. Colin starts with the basics. Leanne gets the house and pension. Corey gets the boat. A few charity donations. It's all standard stuff, the kind of predictable thing you'd expect after decades of working in public service. Nothing stands out, and I'm not really paying attention. I'm trying to swallow down the lump in my throat, trying to keep my hands from shaking. Then Collins pauses. He clears his throat and looks straight at me, his eyes softening for a split second. I don't know why it feels like he's about to drop a bomb on me, but he does. To my sister, Kristen, he says, and my pulse jumps. I leave the contents of the locked cabinet in my home office. She'll understand what they mean. The words hit me like a slap to the face. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe some leftover knickknacks, a chair that Jason liked to sit in. But this feels different. My stomach twists, and for a second, I forget to breathe. There's a pause. Collins is flipping through pages, looking for something. I'm still stuck on the locked cabinet, on the fact that Jason, of all people, left me something. And not just something, but something that means something. What the hell could he have meant by that? Collins clears his throat again and pulls out a piece of paper, folded neatly. My hands are already trembling, but I force myself to stay still as he reads it aloud. It's from Jason, he says, as if I need the reminder. I watch his lips move, the words coming out slow, deliberate. And then I hear Jason's handwriting in Collins' voice. cold and clinical. Kristen, the letter begins, I know you're probably wondering why I'm writing this. I was never good at saying the things I needed to. But you should know, I saw what you did. I saw you doing the hard work, and I couldn't handle it. I felt threatened by it. I think I always did. I can feel the air rush out of my lungs. The letter continues, and I try to concentrate, but all I can think about is that line. I couldn't handle it. Jason, the fire chief who saved lives, who everyone in this town looked up to, couldn't handle it. I was proud of you, though, more than I ever said. You were always the smarter one, the one who figured things out while I was out there playing the hero. I didn't know how to tell you that. I can't breathe. I can't move. I barely hear the rest of the letter. My brain is caught on those words. I was proud of you, Jason, the man who never once said it to my face, even when I needed to hear it, even when I'd been quietly saving his reputation, keeping my distance, trying to prove that I mattered, that my work mattered. Collins finishes reading, and the room is silent. Leanne is wiping her eyes again, her mascara running down her face like black rivers. Corey's expression is unreadable, but I see his eyes flicker toward me, like he's seeing me for the first time. My cousins are all whispering now, asking questions. What's this about? The locked cabinet. What's in it? But none of them matter. I don't answer. I don't need to. Because right now, the only thing that matters is that Jason, the man who couldn't give me a single ounce of recognition when he was alive, had just left me this confession, this apology, whatever it is, and I don't know how to feel about it. Jason's letter keeps unraveling, and I can't stop reading it, even though I want to. It's like I'm reading someone else's life, not mine. But it's mine, and it's him, and it feels like I'm being dragged through everything I never got to hear while he was alive. I know what you're probably thinking, the letter continues. I found out after the retirement party. Googled you, found the news about the Harris sting. You were in the papers, Kristen. I saw your name. State fraud investigators take down $6 million embezzlement scheme. I didn't know. I didn't know that was what you were really doing. You weren't just sitting behind a desk. The words hit me like a wave crashing into the shore. He knew. He saw it. He saw me. I've read every damn article I could find, he wrote. I printed them out, stored them in the cabinet, and I'd pull them out and read them over and over. I wanted to understand. I wanted to be proud of you, but I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle you doing something that mattered more than my badge. I feel sick. The air in the room feels thicker now, like it's closing in around me. The silence is suffocating. Collins has stopped reading, and everyone's staring at me now, waiting for something. What? A reaction? An explanation? I can't give them one. I was an ass, Jason wrote. You deserved more than I gave you, more than anyone gave you. You did the hard work. You caught the criminals. You saved the day, and I just kept pretending I was the one who mattered most. I was too proud, too selfish to see it. You didn't ask for any recognition. You just did it, and you were good at it. Better than I ever was at my job. I try to blink through the tears that sting my eyes, but they keep coming. I didn't know it would feel like this. I didn't know that hearing these words would tear me up more than anything else ever has. Leanne is crying again, softly, her shoulders shaking. I'm sure it's for Jason, but I can't stop the bitterness that flares up inside me. It's a bitter mix of anger and grief, and I can't figure out which one to focus on. Tammy, always so quick to laugh at everything, has gone completely still. Her eyes are wide, like she's been slapped. It's the first time I've seen her actually shocked. Corey, Jason's assistant, is staring at me like he's just seen me for the first time. I know that look. It's the look of someone who thought they had you all figured out, and then you surprise them in a way they don't know how to process. He's been quiet up until now, but I feel him studying me, like he's trying to reconcile the woman in the articles with the quiet, invisible person he thought he knew. And I just sit there, in the middle of it all, stunned and confused. I don't know what to do with this. Jason, my brother, the one who always put me in my place, who reduced me to nothing more than an afterthought, was trying to apologize, trying to make up for all the years of pushing me down. And I don't know if I can forgive him. You always deserved more than silence, Jason's letter says. I just couldn't find the right way to say it. I should have been proud of you. I should have been the first to say it. I'm sorry. You were always the one who deserved it. I close my eyes, but the words keep running through my head. I wanted this. I wanted to hear him say it. But now that it's here, it feels hollow. The room feels colder. Leanne sniffles softly, wiping at her eyes with the back of her hand, and my cousins start murmuring among themselves. Confused, uncomfortable? I don't want their pity. I don't want their sudden, misplaced admiration. Not now. Not after all the years of sitting in the shadows while Jason took every ounce of attention for himself. Kristen, Colin says gently, his voice pulling me out of the storm of thoughts in my head. There's one more thing. I can't bring myself to look up at him. I don't know if I want to hear more. But he clears his throat and continues. At the end of the letter, Jason writes, I didn't know how to make it right, but I hope this helps. And it doesn't help. It doesn't fix anything. But I don't know how to explain that to everyone in the room, or to myself, because even though he finally said what I always needed to hear, it's too little too late. The silence hangs between us like a heavy fog, thick and suffocating, and I can't shake the feeling that there's something I'll never get back, something that Jason took with him when he left. Collins places a thick folder in front of me, one that Jason had set aside specifically for today. It's heavy, the kind of folder you only see in movies about high-stakes investigations or courtroom dramas. I feel the weight of it, physically and emotionally. I don't want to open it, but my hands reach for it anyway, like they're working on their own. Inside are news clippings, agency memos, press releases. A few highlighter marks on the clipping show where Jason had focused his attention. And there, on top of it all, is an invite to the annual Fraud Summit with my name on the panel list. My stomach twists again. I didn't even know Jason had kept track of this stuff. Didn't know he'd cared. But here it is. The proof of everything I'd worked for, hidden in the locked cabinet all these years. But then I see the sticky note at the bottom, the one with Jason's handwriting scrawled across it. My sister's a damn shark. I was too blind to see it. It's almost too much to process. Too much of a contradiction. The Jason I'd known, brash, dismissive, mocking, had somehow respected me, had somehow seen me for what I really was, a damn shark. And I wonder, with a pang of something between relief and grief, if that was his way of trying to make up for all the years of underestimating me. Before I can make sense of it, my cousins start asking questions, their voices a blur of curiosity and disbelief. You're the one who found the offshore accounts, one asks, leaning forward, eyes wide. Wait, didn't the governor give a speech about that case? Another chimes in, her voice rising with a hint of excitement. I nod, too exhausted to offer anything more than a simple acknowledgement. Yeah, I was the lead forensic auditor, I say, the words coming out almost mechanically. It took 14 months to trace everything down. We seized everything down to the yachts. The room goes quiet for a second. They all seem to process the enormity of it. And then Uncle Dave mutters, half to himself, half to me, We thought you were, just in finance. I look up at him, my eyes cold, and I feel my jaw tighten. You never asked, I reply, my voice sharper than I mean it to be. But I don't care, not anymore. Dave shifts uncomfortably, but no one says anything after that. The weight of the words lingers in the air between us, hanging like a thick fog. It's like they're seeing me for the first time. The real me. Not the quiet, invisible one who checks numbers and sits behind a desk, but the one who took down a criminal empire with nothing but spreadsheets and determination. Jason had finally seen it too, even if he didn't know how to tell me before. Leanne wipes her eyes again, looking at me through the veil of tears. Kristen, I didn't know. She trails off like there's something she wants to say but can't. And I don't know if she's talking about Jason or me or both. Corey, who's been so quiet this whole time, clears his throat. He looks at me, his eyes flickering between confusion and something else. Maybe respect, maybe even regret. So you're the one who brought it all down. Yeah, I say. It wasn't just the fraud. We tracked everything. Accounts, shell companies, fake charities. We took it all. They all just sit there, staring. I can't tell if they're impressed, confused, or ashamed. Maybe all three. I wish I could feel something, pride maybe, but it feels hollow now. Empty. Because even with all this proof, all this recognition, it still doesn't change the fact that Jason never saw me for what I was until it was too late. I look down at the folder again, at the articles, at the sticky note. And for the first time, I realize that maybe it's not about their approval anymore. Maybe it never was. The shift is immediate. The murmurs in the room turn into praise, words I didn't ask for but can't seem to escape. Should have said something. That was brave. I'm proud of you. At first, it feels like I'm floating in some dream where everything's turned upside down, where they're all finally seeing me, seeing what I've been doing all this time. But it feels fake. I sit there, half stunned, half numb, listening to them, and all I can think is that they weren't there when it mattered. They weren't there when Jason made those jokes, when he made sure I knew my place. The praise feels empty because it's coming too late. After all these years of sitting through family dinners, listening to Jason tear me down in front of everyone, no one ever said a damn thing. Not once. They all laughed or pretended like it wasn't happening. So now, when they're telling me I'm brave, I don't know what to do with it. Leanne, who's still wiping her eyes, reaches across the table and takes my hand. Her grip is soft, but there's something in her touch that feels like a plea, like she's trying to tell me something without words. He was proud, she says, her voice shaky. After he found out, he told everyone who'd listen. He just didn't tell you. I blink, the words hitting me harder than I expected. It's like the wind gets knocked out of me, and for a second, I don't know what to feel. Why not? I ask before I can stop myself. My voice cracks, and I hate that it does, but I can't help it. Leanne swallows hard, her eyes casting downward. He said he didn't know how to start. He was ashamed, said he'd find the right moment. I don't know what to do with that. I just sit there staring at her, trying to make sense of it. He was ashamed. Ashamed of what? Of me. Of what he'd done. But she keeps going, her voice quieter now, like she's trying to explain something she can't fix. He never did. But I guess this was his way of trying. I close my eyes for a moment, letting the words sink in, trying to understand. It's hard. It's too much. Jason, who never once admitted he was wrong, who never once showed an ounce of humility, had been carrying this guilt around, and now, from beyond the grave, he was trying to make it right. I should feel something. Relief maybe? Closure? But all I feel is a dull ache in my chest. Because Jason didn't tell me. He didn't say the words I needed to hear while he was alive. And I don't know how to feel about a letter, a sticky note, and a lifetime of missed chances. I look at Leanne's hand in mine, the soft touch meant to comfort. And I wonder if it's too late for any of us. If anything he did now could ever make up for all the years we spent pretending things were fine when they weren't. I pull my hand back slowly, feeling the weight of all the unsaid words, the silence stretching between us. Well, I say, my voice coming out rougher than I planned, it doesn't fix everything. But I guess it means something. Leanne nods, her face crumpling again. But this time, I don't know if it's for Jason or for me. Maybe it's for both of us. I don't know what to say after that. It's too late for words. But somehow, I think we all understand that now. Later that night, after the will reading and all the strange shifting emotions that came with it, Leanne gives me the key to Jason's house. It's the last thing I expected to do tonight, but I'm here now, standing in his living room, looking at his framed fire department plaques and the dozens of community awards hanging on the walls. Everything about this place screams Jason. It's loud in a way he was, full of recognition, full of pride. But it doesn't feel like home, not anymore. His office is just as I remember it, neat, methodical. The kind of room where everything has its place. His desk, covered with papers, the same chair he used when he worked late into the night. But what catches my attention is the cabinet. It's locked, old-fashioned, with a brass keyhole that looks out of place in a room full of polished wood and shiny awards. I stand there for a second, key in hand, my heart beating harder. I don't know what I'm expecting to find, but I can't stop myself from turning the key and unlocking it. Inside, it's like I'm opening a time capsule. The first thing I see are binders, thick, crammed full of clippings. Articles, headlines with my name on them. There's a folder labeled Harris Case with marked up papers and printouts of emails forwarded to him about my cases. He'd kept every little detail, even a USB drive with footage from my board testimony. I feel the blood rush to my head, a mix of anger and disbelief. He kept everything. Everything I did, everything he never acknowledged, was right here, tucked away in his private space, in the same place he kept his fire department honors. He'd watched it all, and for some reason, he'd never told me, not once. At the top of the shelf, tucked under a stack of papers, is a sealed envelope. It's plain, nothing special about it except for the postmark. 10 days after his retirement party. My fingers tremble as I pull it out. I wasn't expecting anything else tonight, not after the letter in the will. But here it is, this final piece of something I thought was long gone. I open it slowly, the sound of the paper folding making me feel like I'm breaking some silent rule. Inside is another letter, his handwriting again. It's more personal than the last one, more raw. I can't stop myself from reading it, even though I know it's only going to make everything harder. Kristen, it starts, and I swallow hard. I don't know how to say this without sounding like a coward. I should have said it before, but I was too damn proud to admit it. I spent so much time focusing on my career and my legacy that I missed yours completely. I ignored what you were doing, and I regret it. I see it now. You're stronger than I ever gave you credit for. You did the hard work. You did the work that really mattered. I was blind to it, and I'm sorry. I can't breathe. His words hang in the air like smoke, thick and suffocating. I read the letter again, hoping the second time will make it make more sense, but it doesn't. I am not proud of how I treated you. But I want you to know that after I found out what you'd really been doing, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't stop thinking about you. How I'd always put you down, never gave you the recognition you deserved. I know you didn't want it, but that's no excuse. You were doing something important, something bigger than anything I ever did. And for that, I'm sorry. I never gave you the respect you earned. But I'm proud of you, Kristen. I wish I'd told you this in person. I wish I could have been the one to say it, but I was too late. I'm sorry. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I'm sitting here, staring at this letter, at the man I called my brother, and I'm not sure what to feel. He finally admitted it. Finally. But it doesn't change the years I spent feeling invisible. I crumple the letter in my hands and lean back in the chair, staring at the cabinet again. It's a strange thing to be handed this recognition when it's already too late to matter. I've spent so much time trying to prove myself to everyone, including him. And now, here it is, this final, fragile attempt at making it right. But the truth is, it doesn't fix anything. It just adds another layer to the mess. I close my eyes for a moment, letting the weight of it all wash over me. I sit there in Jason's office, staring at the letter in my hands, barely able to breathe. The words are sinking into me, and they feel like they're clawing at something deep down, something I thought I had buried. Jason, my brother, the man who had always made me feel like I was less, had finally done something he never did in life. He told me the truth. But it's not just a letter, it's a confession, a final attempt to undo the damage he did. Kristen, the letter starts, the words scrawled with a sense of urgency I've never seen from him. I've spent so much of my life trying to be the one who mattered, the one who made something of himself, but I've been too proud to admit that I was threatened by you. You've always been smarter, sharper, more determined than I ever gave you credit for. When I found out what you were really doing, I couldn't handle it. My breath catches in my throat, the words hitting me like a brick. I felt small, watching you do something that mattered. I felt proud of you, but I also felt ashamed. You didn't brag about what you were doing. You just did the work. That's what makes you better than me. I couldn't keep up. I couldn't admit that I was afraid of you being better than me. I can't believe what I'm reading. Jason, the man who'd always been the center of attention, who couldn't stand anyone taking the spotlight from him, had felt threatened by me. The thought almost feels unreal. All these years, I thought he saw me as nothing more than an afterthought. But now, I'm reading this, and it's like a weight's being lifted off me, even though it hurts more than anything. I showed the clippings to my buddies at the VFW, he wrote. Told them about you taking down the fraud ring. I was so damn proud. But I also couldn't stop feeling like shit. You were out there doing something important, while I was still hiding behind my badge. I cried when you testified at that finance board hearing. I wanted to tell you how proud I was, but I chickened out. I didn't know how to say it. I feel the tears start to well up, and I wipe my eyes, hoping the blur of tears doesn't cloud my view of the paper. You always deserved more than silence, Jason wrote. I'm sorry I never gave you that. You deserved more than I ever gave you. I hope this is enough. I put the letter down on the desk, my hands trembling. I can't keep it together. I've held on for so long, burying everything under the weight of years of disappointment, but I can't keep the tears back anymore. They come like a flood, the kind you can't stop even if you want to. For the first time in months, I let myself cry. Not just for Jason, but for all the years I spent waiting for him to see me, waiting for him to say the things I needed to hear, waiting for him to be the brother I always thought he could be. But he never was, not in life. And now, I'll never get that chance again. I cry for the lost years, the years I spent hiding in the background, doing the hard work while Jason took the spotlight, pretending everything was fine. I cry for the moments I missed, the things I should have said, the things he should have said. I cry because all of it is too little, too late. And yet, even in the grief, I feel a strange sense of relief, because at least he saw me. At least, in the end, he knew who I was. Even if I'll never hear those words from him in person, even if the apology won't ever make up for the way he treated me. I sit there, the letter crumpled in my hands, and I let myself feel everything. The anger, the grief, the release of it all. I should feel angry, but I don't. I feel broken. And I feel, in some small way, understood. But it doesn't change anything. It doesn't bring him back. And it doesn't take away the years I spent wishing he could have just told me the truth when it still would have mattered. In the end, Jason's letter is everything I've needed from him. But it's not enough. It never will be. I leave Jason's house with the folder and the letter tucked under my arm. The key to his office feels heavy in my pocket, like it's something I'm not supposed to carry, something I should have never opened in the first place. But here I am, walking through the door one last time, closing it behind me and stepping out into the cool night air. The streetlights buzz in the distance, casting long shadows that stretch across the pavement. The world feels still, quiet, like everything is holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. My phone buzzes again, breaking the silence. Neil. I glance at the screen. Proud of you. See you tomorrow. Harris case wrap-up at 9. The words are simple, and yet they feel like a lifeline. A reminder that tomorrow, I'll go back to my life. My real life. The one that Jason never really saw. The one where the spreadsheets and the numbers hold more secrets than anyone could ever imagine. I don't know why I feel this way, but it's like I'm standing on the edge of something. Maybe it's just exhaustion. Or maybe I'm realizing that, for all the mess and confusion tonight, it's over. Jason's gone. The letter's been read. The pieces have fallen into place. But it doesn't change anything. Not really. Tomorrow, I'll go back to my office. Back to the work that matters in the world I've created. The one where I'm valued. Where I catch criminals and chase down the truth. The one where Jason finally respected me, even if he could never say it until the end. I slide the folder into my bag, tucking it in like it's something fragile. The letter stays in my hand, and I stare at it for a moment, feeling the weight of what it represents. I won't tell anyone about it. Not Neil, not my family. This is mine. This one last piece of Jason, one last attempt at understanding. I could tear it up, I could leave it behind and walk away. But I don't. Because it doesn't fix everything. But it means something. Jason knew. That's more than I ever thought I'd get. I don't need more than that. I'll keep it. Hidden away like all the other things that don't fit into the neat little boxes people expect me to live in, I'll keep it because it's enough, for now. And with that, I turn off the phone, slide it back into my pocket, and walk toward the car, ready to get back to the life I've built, the one that, for all its imperfections, is still mine.